Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ernesto Olivo. I'm the social media and art and activities coordinator here at the Children's Shelter. And we are back today, and we are here again with Lunch with Lishia. Hi, Lishia.
Hello.
How's your day going?
It's going very well, thank you.
Good. So, as you guys know, or if this is your first time, Lishia Noland is our foster care recruiter here at the Children's Shelter with our foster care program. And so, this month being Foster Care Awareness Month, we wanted to kind of highlight and just have conversations about foster care, and specific to our program, and just have a general info session on our foster care program and just in foster care in general. And what better way to do that to raise awareness? Uh, but there are very many ways that you out there can get involved as well. Foster Care Awareness Month is definitely a good time if you're active on social media. Maybe you can find some stories, find some resources online, and share them using hashtag Foster Care Awareness Month, and and getting that information out there, sharing it with your friends, your family. Your social media followers, so that we can together as a community, and then a community at large, can make sure that the foster care issue and conversation is we continue it all year round, because we're always in dire need of foster care families and parents, and so which is why we're here today. So this is our second week with Lunch with Lishia for the month of May. But before we start the conversation, I also want to raise awareness that our Harvey E. Nasium Hope Center uh, is also doing some Facebook Live sessions once a week for the rest of this month. And it is also Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're kind of got both of them here, and kind of really making sure that, again, we're shedding light and doing our part to raise awareness of both of these very, very important issues. But so back to the foster care month. Um, is there anything you want to share? And for those of who are seeing or tuning in for the first time, do you want to just give a quick rundown about our foster care program here at the Children's Shelter?
Sure. Um, so thank you, Ernesto. Um, Thank you for everyone who's joining us or tuning in now or later. We appreciate you just being willing to take the time out of your day to learn something that maybe you didn't know, or learn more about something um, that you already knew in reference to foster care. So I would love to say how this foster care organization is so awesome, that I myself was once a former foster to adopt parent through the children's shelter, and I fell in love, and decided to come home and ultimately contribute in a way that I could. And so I just love sharing and talking about foster care in general, but even more with our agency, just because of the support that we do offer and give back to our community. So if you ever have any questions in regards to how you can begin the process of fostering with us, or you just have general questions, thank you, Ernesto. Um, Ernesto has placed on the screen my contact information, and that's my email address, my office phone contact, my direct cell phone contact number, or you can also access our agency webpage, where you can also inquire there, and those notifications will come directly to me, and ultimately you will hear from me. You will hear from me in response to that inquiry or that notification. The process to get started and inquire is very simple. But even if you're still on the fence and you just have questions, I would love to answer and feel free to talk about it. I try to be as transparent as possible, just at the fact that I know how it feels to be on that side. I've been there before, and so I just like to share the heart of, and the passion behind why we did it. And if there's any way that we can ever help, then, then I'm at your service.
Oh, that's great. So I did want to kind of just have the conversation on based off of. I actually did have somebody ask me a question about our foster care program, and the first thing that they asked was, how many babies or small children are available. Because I know that a lot of the times, maybe it's just the way it's been portrayed throughout time, whether it's like in film, movies, popular culture, or online, that we always think of foster care children as babies and small children. And I know that especially working here now, getting a better idea of that, there's just an array of from age, right? I mean, from newborn to, older teens. And that's kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about, the older children that are in the foster care.
Yeah, so there are children from ages 0, so that can be like a newborn, all the way up to the age of 17, who are in foster care. In our county alone, as of April of 2021, there were actually over 1,700 kids in our county alone, and we're actually one of the we actually have one of the highest rates here in reference to counties, and over 230 of those children are ages 14 to 17. So teens are, everyone has their reasoning when they come into becoming licensed foster parents, and some families, they prefer the younger children for this reason, or for that reason, and that is totally fine. But unfortunately, a lot of times those the teenagers are often overlooked. And so we tend to have more children in that age group or that age range who are left in the foster care system for long periods of time, and they often age out because they were not chosen for placement in a foster home.
And I think it's I think a lot of people again veer away from the idea of teenagers and teens. Maybe it's because and this is maybe something that I had never given much thought to years ago. And when I would think of a teenager in foster care, so you think like, oh, well, they're a little bit older and they're gonna be fine, and they're it's like the little ones that we got to really focus on. But our teenagers, especially now, more than ever, need our assistance and our help, and need us as a resource, especially with a lot of just the way we are, the way our environment is now, and unfortunately, with a lot of information out there and lots of overstimulation, and where do I fit in as a teenager? When with mental health awareness issues, especially if these children are in the foster care system for such a really long time. They don't get the opportunity to know what it's like to have come from a family, or even just like a safe place, a ground where they can feel grounded, to live those teenage years and to go to school and develop those social skills and have friends and do all those things that teenagers kind of need, as in that day and age. And how do you feel in the community? What are the challenges that you think people might think are there when it comes to the teenagers?
Um, so Ernesto, so I've heard a lot of people actually express that. Just, knowing or hearing of my story personally when it comes to, or my family story, when it comes to fostering and why I do it, and um, or what made me think this way. Um, and what I've heard a lot of families say is, um, when you hear the word foster, I feel like it already comes with a negative stigma in the community, and people, for whatever reason, I'm not sure how this image has been created or where it derived from, but I've noticed that a lot of people, one, they're very hesitant about it because there's a sense of, you think of foster, and all of these negative images come up of just broken, hurting, children and their horrible situations, and they feel like they're adopting into those situations as a whole. And so it kind of has this scary, it's kind of like a bittersweet stigma behind it. And then if you add teenager on top of that, just, you were a teen before, I was a teen before, if you just think about the teenage life, like that's pretty tough in itself to deal with. It's not the easiest, especially when you're dealing with additional trauma, involuntarily. And so, on top of that negative stigma, I believe that, it's just kind of like a building block. And before you know it, that wall is just built so high when it comes to foster care, children in foster care, the foster system. And then by the time that you even get to the age group, of a teenager, it's like a lot of times they just, sad to say, they never had a shot, or it's always, like it's just, it hasn't been good from the beginning, the way that they're just viewed. And and truth be told, they're children, just like we were children, they're teenagers just like we were teenagers. They're just teenagers who have been put into situations that they can't help.
Yeah.
It's not like it's something that they've done. It's something that has happened to them. And as a result of that, they were placed into care. And so I think the more that we shed light on the fact that these children didn't ask to be in the foster care system, the the more walls we can break down, the barriers we can break down at the fact that they're still a kid, they're still human, they still have feelings, they still need that love and that support and that guidance. And however, they need the positive and healthy side of that versus everything else that they've ultimately been given and shown, or the reasoning why they've even entered into care.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are all really great points. I think, we don't realize how much we can still provide to our teens, right?
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, you mentioned a few examples of, you know, that they still need some nurturing and guidance, and they still need some perspective, and most of all, I mean, they need support, right?
Yeah.
They've come from or have been in, or where they come from these environments or have been in those environments for so long that,
Mhm.
sometimes they also need to be reminded that they can be supported, that
Yeah.
they are valued, because,
Yeah.
as teenagers, again, we were teenagers, and we know we're like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm a grown. It's like we're not grown, but
Yeah.
it's because they are well more educated, and they are more well informed too.
Mhm.
Our teenagers now, and I think a lot of them, if given the chance to feel some sort of I can never think of the word, but where they feel grounded and rooted,
Yeah.
and have a stability. And when
Yeah.
some sort of stability um, can play a role in them, I think that's where, as teenagers, that we start finding ourselves. What the things that we like, what are we really good at,
Yeah.
who, because, and then also for them to have to relearn or learn in a new way what trust is, right?
Mhm.
And like you mentioned, though, from the beginning, they're still they're still children.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
still a lot of things that they are willing to, like, learn from and to adapt to. And I think our teens, especially within that 14 to 17-year-old, how you mentioned the
Mhm.
statistics earlier, that those people who are interested in foster care, that, and any of you out there, that that we are capable and able to offer and provide something to these children just as well.
Yeah. And a lot of times, after experiencing so much trauma for so long, you kind of just grow into that environment and almost create this sense of survival. And so, as a teen in general, we teens know, they know who they are, and like they just come with this natural, you know attitude by itself. um but imagine if they didn't have that, and so now they're coming and they have to be kind of built up to that, to learn who they are, and learn that there is more, you know and sometimes it just takes exposure. It takes, for a child to be exposed to a healthy environment or a more positive outlook, or just being given hope. Sometimes they just need to hear, that there's hope. And what better to just hear it, but you can show them and be that example and be that guidance for them, because and that it's very crucial, and not just development but also survival, for as they grow, and how to survive mentally on their own, or mentally in society, within itself.
That's great. And I think that the ultimate um, goal or idea for myself when working with youth is that, getting them to understand who they are, where they come from, and what they can become. And, and ultimately, especially if they're still within the system, and as they age out, how can you move forward and be part of society, right? What will be your contribution to society, whether it's work or education, or down the road starting your own family.
Mhm.
What are ways to do that in a healthy, with a healthy mind, right, and healthy
Mhm.
heart, to do that. And I think, and again, for me, I'm just like the whole advocating for, like, that our teens deserve just as much as, as our little ones too.
Yeah, those I actually there is a local organization. And there are three words that I've been taught from them, and it's believing, belonging, and becoming. And when I think about our teens, and I think about the foster care system and the support that can be attainable, through the foster care system for our teens, just choosing a teen can give them hope and believing. Believing there's more, believing in themselves. There's the different seeds and things that can be planted within them. And then after they see that sign of hope, then it's belonging, because now they belong to a family, that maybe they've never had before. Maybe they're belonging, in different groups and around people that they've never encountered before, but it's healthy and it's positive. And even through that, then they begin to discover who they can become, or who they're meant to become. And it's just it's so beautiful just to think about it. But there's still hope. There's still hope, and there's still ways that we can always support our teens. And just remember that, there aren't just little kids in foster care. There aren't just little kids who dream of becoming, something or someone. There's also teenagers who have those same dreams.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm going to put the information back up for those of you out there, again, who want to inquire, want information, or are interested, or someone who might be interested, or you just want to share this information on your social media platforms or in your community. That's always appreciated. And like Lishia mentioned in the beginning, her email's on here, phone, direct line, and or you can also go to the children'sshelter.org, and we have our foster care tab there. And like we mentioned in the beginning, more than ever, we would appreciate the community just continuously supporting and helping us get the word out on foster care and how to become a foster care family / parent. And because more than ever, we know that there's plenty of children out there who really need our guidance and our support and a loving home. And so thank you guys all so very much. Lishia, it's always a pleasure having a conversation with you. I look forward to our next one. Is there anything else that you want to close up with or mention before we say goodbye?
No, you've covered it for me, but I just want to, to just encourage those who may be curious about fostering, or just trying to seek information on how they can support and help our teenagers who are in care. Please do inquire, please do ask questions, because it's only through our teamwork that we work together to help our teenagers and our children who are in care.
That's great. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, Miss Lishia, and thank you guys out there for tuning in. Remember, if you have any questions, you can always leave them on the comment section here. And this video will be up and will be on our feeds, and I will continue to get this information out and share it. And or you can always just message us if you have any questions. And again, directly about foster care information, the information's here on the screen now. And I will definitely be posting a flyer for that with that same information on our page throughout the rest of the month. And again, please let us help us raise awareness to foster care. And yeah, and if you could participate and be a part of it, we are always encouraging that here at the Children's Shelter. I hope everyone's having a great day so far, and we will talk to you guys very soon. And Lishia, we'll talk to you very soon.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bye, guys.